Galloway's presents Tech Talk at 3 with Ian Hughes from Associated Optical.
Welcome everyone to Tech Talk at 3. It's Andrew, your Assistive Technology Coordinator. Really pleased this week to be joined by Ian Hughes, who's joining us from Associated Optical to talk to us about their services and products that they have for sale for people with low vision, specifically digital technology. Welcome, Ian.
Hi, good afternoon, Andrew. How are you?
I'm absolutely, but thanks very much for joining us, Ian. And you're the expert where this all comes into play, so I'm going to hand it all over to you.
No worries. Thank you very much. Well, thank you for the invite and the opportunity to let me present some of the products that Associated Optical does and that may be beneficial to some of your members. So I just wanted to kind of start off with a little bit of background. So. Like you say, my name's Ian Hughes, worked for Associated Optical now for the past 8 years and was in high street practice before that. So I've got the understanding of optics as well as the low vision that we've been doing for the past 8 years and worked for Associated Optical. And we are 37 years old this year. So we've been around quite a bit. And obviously in that time, we've been supporting charities like yourself with magnification devices, with the digital devices that we'll have a look at today, through to some of the new brands that we represent, Ocutech, Bioptics, and also the new live eyewear Cocoons fitovers. So we'll touch on those later, and you've got the opportunity to ask me any questions about any of the products that we have a look at today, or any of the others that aren't on there that you just need a little advice with. Now, I appreciate you are muted at the moment, but if you do have a question, obviously if you need to kind of ways and means, I can't see all of you at the same time, so I don't know if there's a way of kind of holding the question.
Don't you worry, Ian. You'll have plenty of questions at the end, I'm sure, and what we'll do is unmute everybody, and then they'll be able to ask some questions. We also get some on the chat box as well, so don't worry. We'll guide you all through it, and we'll get everyone on at the end. Brilliant.
Perfect. No worries. So what I wanted to start with and concentrate on, obviously I gave you a little bit of background about Associated Optical, but predominantly we're the UK distributor for them, for the Eschenbach optics brand. And Eschenbach Optics has been renowned for their magnification devices. So either through the schemes that Galloway runs or through your local hospital, you've more than likely had an Eschenbach product in the past. Eschenbach also have a digital portfolio, and we released products around about 12, 15 years ago. And over the past 3 years especially, we've added to that with new, innovative, and in some cases unique products with some of the features that they have. So we'll go through those and have a look at those today. Some of the products that we actually have a look at, Galloway's do have in the centres. I appreciate at the moment it's difficult to get in there, but obviously Andrew and the team will best know how to get around that and to see how you can try out some of these products back in the centres or at home visits when you're allowed to do those. So I want to kind of start off by talking about why would we look at a digital magnifier? Now, there's always a misconception that you've got to pitch optical versus digital, and that's not the case. They go hand in hand. There are going to be certain tasks that are definitely better with an optical magnifier than a digital, but then there'll also be a place for digital that an optical just can't get to. So, for instance, if I start off with talking about size, everybody says to me, can I get a larger optical magnifier? Why can't I get a sheet, optical sheet that covers the page? And it's just down to physics. It's just not possible. So some of you may be aware that when you're looking at the higher powered magnifiers, so for instance here, I have a 7x 28 diopter lens. Now this one is only 35 mil in diameter. So when you're using this one, it can be quite difficult, and you have to hold it a little bit closer to be able to see what you want to be able to see. Now, that's just the way that it is. For some people, that's absolutely fine. And for little spot checks when you're out in the supermarket, that would work in absolute treat and there's no issue. But for certain others, it may be that if you're wanting to read a large body of print, that having something that size is not going to be feasible, and you're wanting something that covers more of the page. And that's where digital magnification comes into it. So size is one of the options. So one of the other benefits of digital magnification is the contrast, the different colors. Now, Eschenbach are already unique in the fact that when you have an Eschenbach magnifier, you have 3 different light temperatures that you can use. So you have a white light that we start with, and then what you can do is put an orange filter over it to reduce it down, and put a yellow filter on it to reduce the temperature to a different, to reduce it to a different light temperature to help with contrast. However, we appreciate that you need to, might need to do that in a digital magnifier, or just need that little bit of extra help. So maybe if you've got a cataract, maybe you're needing more light because you've got macular degeneration. So what we have are contrast options within the digital magnifier that just makes it a lot easier to see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by demonstrating this one here. So this is the Visilux Digital HD. So this is our 7-inch digital magnifier. Now Eschenbach at the moment have a 4.3-inch Mobilux Digital Touch, a 5-inch SmartLux, which I believe you've got a couple of the centers, the 7-inch HD, which we've got all of them, but we'll concentrate on this one. We've got the 12-inch Visilux XL Touch, and then we've just brought out a portable CCTV, which is around about 16 inches. So what I'm going to do is just bring that down so I can concentrate on that. So you can see here, we've got the SmartLux, which is the 5-inch, hiding away, which we'll have a look at, is the 12-inch digital. And then we've got the Visilux HD. So what I shall do is just maneuver you so you can just probably see that a little bit better. Okay. So I'm going to pop this on for you now. I'll also lift this up as well while I'm talking. One of the things Eschenbach are renowned for and really good at is actually asking their members, asking the users of the products exactly what they want. Because with all the technology in the world at the moment, you could probably make a magnifier that makes you a cup of tea. But is that what people want? We're, after getting feedback from when we've launched when we launched the products here in the UK, a lot of the charities we work with and a lot of the customers that we have all said that they want simplicity. They don't want it to be too complicated. They want to be able to see a lot better. And so Eschenbach are really, really good at that. So when we're looking at the screen quality, when we're looking at the lighting, we've made it so we can make it the crispest image that we can possible, because we want to maximize on what site you've got left. So it's trying to maximize the usable site that you have. So with the Eschenbach models, and again, I'll show you because it's easier to show to the camera, we try and make it as simple as possible with a distinctive on-off button. And then we follow the kind of similar kind of rules across the brand, across the different range, is that we have the red contrast button, we have the yellow magnification button, and these are all tactile, where you can feel the shape of the magnifier. And then also we have a blue photograph button, so where you can we can freeze the image and you can store that for later. And that, like I say, then comes on to exactly the same when we start looking at the 7. So with that, you can then see along the sides on this one that we have the contrast, the image, and then the 2 magnifications up and down. And then again, like I say, the distinctive on-off button. So with that, I shall pop it on, and I shall drop this down so you can see where we are. Okay, so what I'd like to do just on here is just to show you how clear. I'm using a reading chart, and so I've got the different magnification levels all the way down. And like I say, really simple to use. So we have up and down magnification on the right hand side, sorry. So on this one, we can start it as little as 2 times. We can go up to 22 times, as much as we need. But as we know, the larger it goes, the less that you get on the screen. What we can also do is, using the left hand side, is using the contrast, it's changed to the different contrasts. Now, this is all subjective. So as much as you might have heard in the past, oh, you've got macular, you need this colour, or you've got RP, you need this colour. It is all subjective, so it's whatever works best for you. In my experience, if you've got macular, a lot of the time, the white and black and white is usually better received. But like I say, it's entirely up to yourself. So with this one, as you can see, up and down, dead simple to use. Change your contrasts. For this, I'm going to pop it onto the enhanced black and white. One of the things that we concentrated on, and one of the things that we found when we were speaking to people, is that they would find that they kept having to move their material or move the magnifier across the material all the time. So one of the unique features that Eschenbach have put in here is that we've actually got 2 buttons on the back. So one here and one here. And so when you pop it over, these, you can press one way and it scrolls across. You can press another way and it scrolls across. And so at the bottom, you might not be able to see, but you'll be able to feel when you try this in the center, is that there's 2 distinctive kind of noggins or markers, and that's the width of a column of a newspaper. So you can line it up and then just go between the different, to the edge of the column and then back again. So for instance, if we magnify a lot more, then you can see we can scroll across a lot more as well. One of the other things that we found after talking to customers and to charities is that sometimes people lost where they were. So one of the options that we can is there's a plethora of different options within the menu button. And one of the ones that we can use is the guideline. So using the guideline, what we can then do is, at the moment it's right at the top of the screen, so you might just be able to see the red line there. So we've been demonstrating it previously. So what we can do is put that guideline exactly where we want it. So for instance, what I'll do now is I'm just bringing that guideline and I'm going to pop it into exactly where I want it. So I would like it just towards the bottom, so I can pop it there and then I can just leave it in place. Now, a lot of this you get set up either with ourselves or you get set up through Andrew or the rest of the team. So then it's set, ready for going. You haven't got to keep going through these different settings every time that you need to use them. And then you've got it, like I say, exactly where you need it to be. So one of the benefits of using the Vislux HD is the fact that it has got a HDMI output. So you can actually plug this into the back of the TV. So everything you see on the screen here will come up on the large screen. So if you was going to look at photographs, for instance, or kind of larger bodies of print, or even a crossword, then you can just make it a lot bigger and a lot easier to see. One of the other things that we also found from speaking to people was having something that gave you the ability to write underneath it. Now, we found that when we had the Smart Looks. So when we had the 5-inch Smart Looks, which you obviously should be all be aware of, but if not, then what we have with this one is we have a stand so that you don't have to hold it first and foremost, but we have the ability that you can actually write beneath it, whether you're left-handed or right-handed. Then what you can do is get your pen to write a check, do a birthday card, do a Christmas card. And we wanted to do something similar for the Vislux HD. Now, already we put a stand so it was better for posture when it's sat on your lap, maybe on a lap tray, for instance. But we wanted to make it that little bit easier to be able to write under it as well. So what we've done is we actually have a stand so that you can get a pen under there, or you can do all the different tasks that you'd like to do hands-free. So that could be trimming your nails. Somebody told me the other day. I've also known one of the Eschenbach magnifiers to be used to trim toenails as well as hand nails. So if you're still quite flexible, then that might be an option. That's entirely up to you. You don't need to send pictures in. That's absolutely fine. So with this one, what we do is this will just slot into place. So let me put that down. There we go. So if I pop this down for you, you can see, let me bring that down. There we go. So what we can do with this one now is if we just change it here, we bring that magnification down, change it back to the full color. There you can see. I'm just going to see if I've got a better camera image for you there. I think that's coming across as well as what it could do. I'll bring it a bit higher. So what you can see is that I can actually work a bit underneath it now. So if I wanted to kind of, like I say, do my nails or look at something, then I've got that ability by putting my hand through the stand and being able to use that. Again, like I say, either left-handed or right-handed. If I wanted to write, maybe that's a better image. Then you can do that. So it's quite versatile. It does obviously quite a few different options on there for you. Now, I am also conscious that in the same way that you ask for larger magnifiers in the optics, you also ask for larger magnifiers in the digital. But we have to kind of gauge things like weight and making sure that you can actually take it into the different rooms with you, rather than just making a lump of a unit that looks fantastic or might do the job, but you can't take it anywhere with you. So when we first got the Visualux XL12, that was one of the things that I was quite amazed about, was how light it was. So obviously it's difficult to get the context when I'm kind of talking about it on a Zoom call. But if you think that that's actually, I'm kind of doing that with it, it's not the heaviest thing in the world. And so as you can see, we've got a very similar markings with the contrast in the on-off button and the up and down magnification. And we also have on the side on this one, same as the Visualux HD, the option to scroll up and down, but also left and right this time on the XL. So like I said, this one's a 12 inch. So if I bring this one down, just make sure we're all good. Got that one's out perfectly. Okay, so with this one, there we go. Needs a little bit of charge. It's had some use today. So with this one though, you can touchscreen. So it's got exactly the same benefits as you've got with the 7-inch, with the different contrasts, with the ability to plug it into the TV. But with this one, you can just scroll backwards and forwards, as easy as that. So, like I say, Andrew's got this one there in the centre. So go along, have a look, have a play. Again, we've just brought out a new stand, so you can actually write underneath this one as well, which is fantastic, which Andrew doesn't have yet. So we'll need to have a look at getting that sorted for you. But when you're looking at trying to get as much on the page as you can, then having something like the 12 inch is kind of a bit of a no-brainer. If you've got the space for it, then it works really, really well. And like I say, it's got the same angle. So if you're using it on that laptop tray, works an absolute treat. Nice and easy to use. One of the things we also do is use, on all of them, is a reflection-free screen. So, for instance, on the Smart Looks, you can use this one outdoors. So, unlike your mobile phone, where if it's a really, really bright day, you may lose what you're seeing. With this one, you don't get that. It's a lot crisper and a lot sharper image. You can also hear there, it does talk to you when you're turning it off. So we don't do any OCR or anything else like that. We concentrate on obviously making the best optical magnification devices that we can. So everything that we do is purely optics, and obviously maximising what usable sight you've got to be able to see with that one.
Looking forward to getting one of the stands, Ian. That'll be great.
Yeah, no, honestly, it makes so much difference. It's fantastic. So it's one of those that we've taken a video, but trying to do it on Zoom, you can't. It's one of those you need to see it to really see the difference it makes. It really does make so much difference. Whilst we're on digital, I wanted just to mention, just so you're kind of aware, of a product called Bioptics, which you may have seen previously. So these aren't technically digital, but they fall into a kind of almost like a digital market with some of the stuff it does, for instance. So this is actually a telescope, but it uses a periscope system. So you may be able to see that the eyepiece is in front of the right eye, where the light comes in is front of the left eye. But this is...
So that's on a pair of glasses, isn't it?
That's correct.
You've got that on a glasses frame, so...
Got that on a glasses frame. So whether or not you have a prescription or you don't, this can be beneficial. And it also does everything from 6 inches through to infinity. So it just means you've got more options if you are independent, wanting to go out and about more, looking to get the right train, different things like that. Then obviously that's something that might be beneficial. So for instance, this one is a 6 times magnification. So if you can see the top line of the reading chart, which is around about 660, you may, with this one, be able to see around about 610, 612, which would be round about under the cataract referral level. So you can see how much improvement it could give you. And I know that recently we brought out a digital version of this. So at the moment with this one, you adjust it by using the wheel on the front. And we have a digital version where you pop it on and everything you look at, it will automatically adjust.
Very small, isn't it? It's very small.
Exactly that. One of the things that we were conscious about was, like with everything, is how things look and the perception. Because so what we've done recently, I mentioned, was we took on the cocoons fit overs. And one of the reasons we took on the cocoons is that we came away from the kind of industry standard, should we say, of the big overspec kind of plastic safety glasses kind of style, because we wanted something that wasn't a badge to somebody's visual impairment. We wanted to kind of make something as much as mainstream as possible. So like when you're looking at the design of the magnifiers and the digital ones especially, like if you look at the smart looks, it's not too dissimilar from my phone. And that's what we wanted to create. So if you're sat on a train, nobody's kind of looking at you going, look at them. You know, we don't want to kind of create that divide almost. We wanted to, like I say, be as mainstream as possible.
Yeah, some of the devices on the market can be quite colourful and bright with big bright buttons and things like that, can't they? It depends on what you're looking for, really, isn't it? All the products have got a sophisticated look about them and quite a kind of a low kind of they're not like right out there, if you like. They don't stand out, which is supposedly a good thing.
100%, and that's one of the reasons. If you think about the fact that all along with the Eschenbach with the magnifiers, it's black and white, so you've got that contrast option depending which way you go. If it's in your bag, you can see that you've got the white head on there and things like that. And it's the same across, like I say, with the Visilux HD. It just follows it perfectly. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the brighter coloured ones because they look a bit like a Fisher Price toy, but that's my opinion. That's
tell us more. Can you tell us more about these new cocoons that you're dealing with? You were telling us about these overlay glasses.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things with the cocoons is, like I say, we was kind of very conscious that we wanted something that looked good, but we was also conscious that they needed to do the job, because you can get sunglasses and they can protect the front of the eye, or through the lenses, should we say, but we wanted something that kind of did the job properly. Not that the others don't, but we just needed to make sure that what we was looking for matched the benefits to the user, but also looks good, but actually matched the Eschenbach quality. Because one of the things we're very proud of is the fact that we've got the products are made in Germany, and that we've got that kind of German kind of authenticity of knowing that it's a great, well-made product. And so we wanted our filter glass, our overspecs, to match that. And so obviously trying to find a brand that did that. And so we came and found the cocoons. So I'll demonstrate it on this one. So these are the cocoons, and come in a variety of different sizes. And within the low vision, we have the lemon and the orange tint, and we have a boysenberry and a grey to cut down glare. Obviously, these enhance contrast. But one of the things with the cocoons is that they're made out of a ballistic nylon, so they feel really nice to hold first and foremost, and so they're really, really comfy. They're made from, they've got a flexi fit arm, so if you're wearing 2 pairs of specs, you don't realise until you've worn them a while how irritating that can be. And so you can just adjust these yourself just by bending them, so you haven't got to worry if it's a warm day and they start falling down. Pardon? Did I get a question? Yeah, so the arms just kind of adjust, and you can just bend them yourself, and then you can just bend them back into position with that one. But what they also do, you also have the ability that you can twist them and they're not break. Not that I want you to twist them, so just bear that in mind. I don't want you to twist them, but if you used to sit on them or somebody else was to sit on them, you haven't got to worry too much about them kind of breaking, and then you have to keep getting them replaced. So actually, we do give them a manufacturing frame lifetime warranty. So yeah, I haven't got to worry about that. Pardon?
That sounds like me with sunglasses and sitting on them all the time and breaking them.
So you've just gone really quiet there, Andrew.
Oh, can you still hear me now? Yeah, I'm just saying it sounds like sunglasses. That's the bane of my life, is breaking sunglasses and sitting on them.
That's it. You're not the first. You're not the last. It's a common problem, and it's usually somebody else that sits on them as well, to be honest. So yeah, this is one of the things that we found, is that the frame obviously has been a massive benefit. But one of the other things that we, when we was investigating and kind of going forward with them and then doing our training on them, because one of the things we want to do when we bring out any new products, when we have anything new that's launched, is we want to kind of look into it to the nth degree, so that everything that we say and everything we're talking about is factual, and that you can go away thinking, actually, do you know what? This is why this is the difference it's going to make. And so when we started looking at the lenses, we have additional benefits. If they have some of them have different high energy blue light reduction features, but the cocoons themselves, their lenses are up to 25% clearer than the majority of the other fit over brands on the market. So if you're thinking about maximizing your sight, then obviously you want to have something that's extremely clear, or the clearest possible, because obviously you don't want anything that's going to put you back any further. As I mentioned, we've got the low vision ones. We've also brought out a more stylish range of fit overs, so more sunglass style. So they've got a polarized lens in there. So if you are traveling in the car, and I know today it was difficult on the motorway with the rain that had just fell, the sun bouncing off it, especially if you're kind of near the coast, up in kind of Morecambe way, then it can be quite dazzling. So having a polarized lens will cut down the rays that bounce up. And the added benefit of the cocoons as well is that everybody concentrates on the top and the side bits, but 70% of light actually bounces up. And so cocoons have an undercarriage, which then obviously protects the eyes all the way around. So if I was to pop these on and then try and do the finger test, trying to get where the light's coming in, you can see there's not much in there. Once I've got them fitted, I can great difficulty get my finger through to my eye. And so that's stopping the light bouncing up as well. Whereas
product that maybe some that people that were fully sighted would use as well, obviously, as well. It's not
100%. So to be honest, I have a pair of Twilights, which are for nighttime driving in the car. And I've also got a pair of amber polarized that I stick on. So I do obviously prescription sunglasses, but if I obviously not want to take them off, pop them on quickly. I've got those at the side of me. I can pop them straight on, no issue at all.
Brilliant.
Perfect. I'm just Andrew, I'm just really struggling to hear. I'm just trying to turn it up to see if it's me, but I can't hear much.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Not massively. Let me.
Better. We can hear you okay, so that's the main thing.
Because you was really loud earlier, and then obviously you just dropped off a slight time.
Yeah, can you hear us now?
That's better, yes.
Is that better? Yeah,
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah,
Perfect.
no, that's no, it's really interesting stuff, and I think those overlays are really important. I know that I'm quite sensitive to light, and even some people who don't have much vision at all can still have that light perception, and that can make you quite sensitive to light as well. So so they're really important, I think, for people, you know, to utilize. And I know that they're available through some of the low vision schemes as well, and that's something definitely worth looking at if you do go for a low vision assessment. It's definitely worth looking at. Really interesting stuff, Ian. Is it all right if we go to some questions to see if
Absolutely.
people have got any questions for you? Is that
Yeah,
all
no
right?
problem. Of course.
Okay. Now I think I've just got to unmute everyone. Am I still the host, Louise? Okay. Bear me 1 second. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask everyone to unmute. Well, bear with us a second.
031969.
Bear me a second, guys. So we'll just unmute everyone, and what you'll get a message that says the host would like you to unmute. So if you do want to unmute yourself, you can do, and you can ask any questions that. Yeah, so people are starting to unmute themselves now. This is where the fun begins, where everyone starts asking questions and things like that.
Hello, Key here.
Hiya, Key. Do you want to ask a question?
Yes.
Yeah, brilliant.
Could you give us the price of the product, start from the beginning?
Yeah.
Prices.
So what I'll do then is give you all the recommended retail prices. So the 5-inch Smart Lux retails at £500. You have I'm trying to think where I put them now. The 7-inch HD, which is £780. We have the Visilux XL, which is £1,400, and then we have the XL. The Vario, the portable CCTV that we didn't see. That one retails at £2,050. The Cuckoo Nova Specs retail at £55.
Oh.
Okay. It's definitely worth checking with if you do go for an LVA. It's assessment. Definitely worth checking to see if you can get a pair of those if they're going to be helpful to you. Okay.
Exactly. And also, I'm not unaware there may be member prices that are slightly different from what we advertise, and that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Andrew.
Yes. Hiya, David.
Hiya. Can the gentleman hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, I'm very interested in things like this. My eyes are very, very light sensitive.
Okay.
And I did have a very, very interesting talk and explaining everything to us. I used to have a Monocular.
Okay.
And I found it very, very helpful. But then I went on to a digital Monocular.
Okay.
Which something similar to what you've described, but a lot bigger. It was like a little video camera.
Yes.
And a gentleman gave a low visual aid gentleman, specialist, or whatever you call them, sorry, called Glenn Smith, Gil Smith.
Gil Smith. Yeah.
Gil Smith, yeah.
Yes.
Brilliant bloke. I was under him for a long time. And he loaned me one of these digital monoculars, and I thought it was actually fantastic. But unfortunately, I can't use one of them now. But the ones where he was explaining with clips on the glass, the glasses, I mean, it'd be pointless me looking in for one of them, do you think? Or is it worth just checking up?
100%. I'm always one of these that we can look at the technical and we can look at everything on paper and go, right, okay, this is your site at the moment. This is what you should be seeing on the charts. From that, I can usually gauge and be quite honest with you and go, do you know what? We can give it a go. Let's see where we're at. Or I can look at that and go, actually, do you know what? I'd probably give that a go. That's not inconceivable. We could get an improvement. And it depends what you class as improvement to what
of course.
Is improvement. But as I would say, if you've got usable site, and obviously we can talk separately about if you know what your visual acuity is at the moment. But from that, I can 100% I can gauge and say, do you know what? I'd give this a go again, because I can probably hazard a guess on what Gil supplied you with. And obviously I know Gil well. And so I would probably say that maybe have been a few improvements since then.
I would imagine there is,
They could be beneficial.
Yeah. All right, many thanks. Thanks
Very
for that.
welcome.
And thanks for the talk.
There you go. Really good question there from David. I must say, I did try the Ocutech technology a couple of years ago when I went to Sheffield with my mum to watch the snooker. the World Championship snooker at Sheffield, and I tried them out for the weekend and thought they were really good actually. A good alternative to a monocular or a binocular because you haven't got to hold it. You know, your hands are free.
Oh yeah.
And if anybody's tried watching anything with a monocular or like a football match or sport or anything or at a concert, you end up with a dead arm, you know, on one side.
Oh,
got any more questions?
Yes, there's just a quick one I just wanted to raise, just out of a matter of curiosity. The number of people I've met over the years who are not visually impaired surprises me, that have a light sensitive problem. You know, they're not visually impaired at all, but they're just as, you know, they're about as sensitive to light as some visually impaired people I know. Do you ever get customers who are sort of fully sighted, but they need something to help with keeping the light out?
Absolutely. Lighting's one of the most frustrating things, because we all need light, and a lot of the time we need as much light as possible to see. However, it can be such an irritant at times. So we get quite a few customers asking us for things for migraines, because
I know somebody at churches like that.
So a recent study found that it was a part of the spectrum may be an irritant to them. So can we cut down this little part of the blue and green on the spectrum, because that might trigger a migraine? And there's different things. So there's lots more people out there that will be affected by light in such different ways that would not be classed as, like you say, not on the visual impairment spectrum.
No, and you know, and no doubt it must be very unnerving for anybody driving. You know, you go down a road, particularly like we've had earlier today, where it's been raining and the sun comes out.
Well, that kind of glare from wet roads and the reflections that you get will bother literally everybody. That's not a sight thing. It's just the fact that the way the light's bouncing up, it's being split and bouncing everywhere.
Yeah, it's going everywhere, and it's like having two mirrors.
So having a polarized lens, because a lot of the time people will go and buy a pair of sunglasses, or they may know that they want a pair of polarized because they tried them and they're great, but what does it actually do? And it's actually cutting out some of the wavelengths that are bouncing up so that you can see through it. So it means that when you go to the coast and you can see a tanker, or you're looking out to sea or anything like that, you can actually cut through it. Or like you say, if you're on the road or kind of at the side of the road and you're getting the water, the light bouncing off wet the roads, it can be really, really dazzling. And by popping the polarized lens on, all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, this is like night and day.
Yeah, and you can get that in sunglasses or ordinary glasses. I know I've got a couple of polarizing filters for the camera.
Yes.
You know, just to get the photographs, like you say, to knock the glare off.
Well, it's exactly so. We've traditionally done in the polarized ones, we've had the greys and we've had browns, that kind of thing, traditional sunglass colors. But then what we've done is, this is our lemon one I showed you earlier.
Yeah.
But what we've just done, my fingerprints all over it. We've just brought out a yellow with a polarized, so you can see it's got a slight grey hue to it.
Yeah, just a slight shade of brown. It's not a lot.
Just to take, but it's that polarized bit that just on those misty mornings, and especially now when we're coming into the autumn, where you just can't quite see as well, or coming to dusk and the lights are just coming on. Having something like that would just make it so much easier if you're out walking the dog, or just kind of walking to the shops. Just gives you that little bit more confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Excellent. Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. Good question, that David. That's the two Davids now. We've had questions.
I don't know how to do two Davids, but you know, it's just something that's been niggling me for a while. I mean, I sort of like, you know, we associate with visually impaired people, but far more people have a light problem.
Yeah. Absolutely. Actually, come to think of that, I sometimes struggle in certain offices or buildings where I might be on a computer and they've got that, like, you know, that kind of floodlight, that like fluorescent lighting, if you like, in the ceiling.
Yeah, it's
and
terrible.
I can get headaches off that. And I'm just wondering, do the overlays, can they help with that type of thing by filtering out some of that?
Absolutely. So one of the things that Cocoons brought out last year, after we took on the low vision ones, where they brought a pair, and excuse me for those that obviously aren't driving and things like that, and you might think this is crazy talking to a society about driving lenses, but bear with. So they brought out a driving lens last year, and it was designed to absorb all of the, or majority of the high energy blue light.
Oh yeah, because that's bad for you, isn't it? So I've discovered.
Well, so blue light is kind of, there's nothing to say, yes, it does this for you. No, it doesn't do that. So it's an irritant is the best way to describe it at the moment.
Right.
And the blue light we're talking about is blue light from headlights and artificial blue light, not blue light from the sun, because that's the bit that kind of may be damaging, but it's more the artificial light that irritates us.
Yeah.
So when we talk, so they made this lens that does not yellow, because yellow is not recommended for driving. So it's legal, it's just not recommended, because you lose certain parts of the physical blue color or the visible blue color, which if you're in a particular blue top, you might not see them at the side of the road. So we've got this lens, which is 93% light transmission. So it's almost clear, but it's just been designed to absorb the high energy light that can irritate us, because the blue light is a shorter wavelength, so it splits more. And so if we can cut through that, it can make things just that little bit sharper. And so that's what we've done with the Twilight. But because it absorbs high energy light, it also works for, it's mainly the headlights, for the high energy lights for overhead and things like that. So you can find in offices that it has been, well, we do find that in offices and computer use and things like that, it can make it a lot easier.
Right, okay, that's really interesting. So that's the Twilight. I'll definitely have a look at those, yeah.
Because fluorescent lights have a tendency to flicker, don't they?
They can do, yes.
Yeah, you know, and I've known I've known people fully sighted to grumble about it in the office. I could understand it affecting some visually impaired people, but you know, fully sighted people just mystified me. And talk about blue light, I've spent a bit of time on my new telly taking out some of the blue light because it's not supposed to be good for you. You know, I didn't want to end up trouble later on, because I mean, a lot of tablets and computers now have something to get rid of the blue light.
I think the blue light, like I say, some of these studies that have shown that it's like I say, it's an irritant. It's more, it affects your circadian cycle and kind of melatonin production and things like that to do with sleep, rather than necessarily. I don't think there's been any studies, and I may be wrong, this is just to my knowledge, there's no studies on humans to say that it's making a difference. I think they've found with rats maybe that it has effect on the retina, but that's a different thing, and that's extreme doses, where I think for us it's more probably just the fact that it makes us a little bit tired, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I could see why, you know, why they recommend, you know, particularly stop using your smartphone at night to use, you know, and then you can get
just because of the kind of the effect on the circadian cycle and the melatonin and things like that.
Yeah.
Right. Really interesting stuff. I think we'll take if anyone's got one more question, we'll take one more question for Ian. If anyone's got one more question.
I'll take it. Just one other about the cocoon lenses. Again, they sound very interesting to me, because I'm like a lot of other people, as you can appreciate. I'm very light sensitive, as I said before. Mm-hmm. And the idea of also my brother as well. I've got two brothers the same. And I think the idea of the cocoon going right round the eye, as you explained, is a brilliant idea. And it'll be interesting to see them, have a look at them, and see how beneficial they are to us.
Yeah, absolutely. It was one of the biggest things, and it was one of the things that I find frustrating when I kept coming from the optical background, and when I go into high street practice, and you'll see 100 different sunglasses on display, and I understand the benefit of a pair of sunglasses to cut down UVA and UVB, which they do very, very well. But it's the fact that a lot of light actually comes in through leakage through the sides, and so it was just an absolute no-brainer when I was looking at something that fitted our market that we went for something, and obviously hence called cocoons. It's always kind of like, it's describing exactly what they're doing, to stop the light getting in, because things like when you've had a cataract done, like I personally would, if once I've had a cataract done myself, I would be wearing a cocoon, because I don't want the light getting into my eye in any way, because obviously the lens implant may be slightly different than my natural eye, and obviously a little bit more susceptible at the time after you've just had your surgery. So I don't want anything that's going to irritate it, so I can pop these on, and that obviously make quite a bit of difference. And it's little things like with the wind, and especially if you're walking down the promenade on some of the coast, it's eyes are streaming after a bit.
Yes. But thank you very much for that. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I will inform my brothers as well with what we've discussed as well. I'm sure they'll find it very interesting.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Brilliant. So, Ian, if people want to find out more about the products that are available from Associated Optical, what's the easiest way of giving you guys a call or getting on your website?
Yeah, so we've got the Associated Optical website, which is exactly as it is, just associatedoptical.com. You can give us a call. So we're based in South Buckinghamshire in Burnham. The contact number is 01628 600 410. If you're wanting to speak to me specifically, then you can give me a call on 07802 880 343, or obviously go through Andrew or any of the team. Like I say, we kind of a lot of these products that we've seen, you can get through the resource centre, and that's one of the things that we try and promote, is that obviously, yes, you can buy any of these products from me, but we want to ensure that the charities are kind of well funded, and obviously we look after them so they can look after you. And obviously we'd rather kind of money go into their pot than it would go to kind of the manufacturers and things like that, because without people like Galloway's and different charities, then the support network for everybody else just starts to diminish.
Yeah, no, it's really good. It's great working with you, and thank you again for joining us today on Tech Talk at 3. Thank you. Thanks very much, Ian.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much.
Galloway's, support through sight loss.